Hey, what's up? It's Comic 95, the Savior. So for this video, I want to talk to you guys about the life of being too sexy to be an English teacher. Now, before I get into this video, I am not trying to make this video one where I'm bragging about myself and my personal appearance. That's not what this is about, but rather it's about how I am perceived in Japan. Some of these things can't quite exactly be changed so easily about myself. So, of course, we can choose to dress modestly or immodestly, but in some cases that doesn't really seem to help, and in Japan, I feel like in the teaching world, that's definitely one of them. For example, I am a girl that has D-cup breasts, and in Japan, that's like freaking massive. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I feel like a lot of guys care more about your chest than like anything else on a girl's body. That's like I won't say deal breaker, but I can't think of a word for it. Like, that is what makes you hot, is having large breasts, big boobs, whatever. So, because it's already been instilled inside of people's minds, for some reason, mainly I assume because large breasts aren't so common amongst Asian women. I'm not gonna get into that, you guys. Yes, there's always the exception to every rule, but on average, most of the girls here are not very curvy, and they're not normally fat, and they normally do have slimmer, thinner, flatter bodies overall. Are there women that are curvy? Are there women that are fat? Yes, there are, but again, generally speaking. And with that said, a lot of guys, ironically, have a fetish and or a thing for girls with big breasts. Unfortunately, this can also hurt your chances for a job, as well as make your work life uncomfortable. I cannot tell you how many times I've had either a student or, a boss make inappropriate comments about my body, whether it was just bluntly saying, oh wow, people must really love you, you're so beautiful, your body's perfect. Or, just saying like, wow, you have really big breasts, something like that. Which, again, depending on what kind of girl you are, you might see that as a compliment, but to me, it kind of makes you uncomfortable. It's one thing if you're dating someone and you're close to them, you know them, whatever, laugh it off, haha, oh, thank you. But when it's coming from your student or a boss, it's pretty creepy. Not cool. Do they normally specifically talk about your breasts? No. They'll just cover it by saying, oh, you have such a nice body. So, yeah. The other thing too is having large breasts, being curvy, etc. can also make your work life hell. For example, you might work at a place in which you are dressing completely modestly and professionally, and even although you're doing that, because your breasts are so big, which I personally am someone that has this problem, wearing modest clothes kind of draws more attention to your bust than wearing immodest stuff. For example, a v-neck, in my opinion, makes my breasts look smaller, versus if I'm wearing a turtleneck, it draws more attention to the fact that there's this huge lump under my shirt. Thus, it makes my breasts look bigger, draws more attention to my bra, etc. But again, different country, different culture, different rules. But yeah, so like you might have your boss might say, oh, we've gotten complaints that you're dressing too sexy, tone it down a bit. It's like, how am I supposed to turn it down a bit? Like, cut off my breasts, get plastic surgery? What? So again, not all places are like this, but you will run across some. It's very possible. They might ask you to change the way that you're dressing. This can also be used as an excuse to fire you or let you go. They'll use the way that you're dressing, that you're too sexy, whatever. And it's like, okay, so having boobs instantly makes me sexy. Even although I'm wearing a nice white blouse, it's not tight-fitting, it's not a bodycon, but this is still too sexy. Like, what am I supposed to wear, a bed sheet to work? So, I don't have this problem at my current job, but it's definitely a thing here in Japan. You also get comments in which, again, people think they're complimenting you, but they're actually kind of creepy. For example, saying, oh, I'm glad you're not my teacher, you're too sexy, or, oh, I know your high schoolers must love you, things like that. I've even had bosses say inappropriate remarks about my appearance and how my students must perceive me. I'm a grown woman and not a pedophile. I kind of would like to think that my high school students aren't thinking of me that way, but of course I know they're boys, they're young, they're going through puberty. I know they are. I don't need to be reminded. What's important is that I'm remaining professional and I'm not getting involved with them in that kind of way. But yeah, those are not really compliments. They're kind of creepy comments saying what you want to do to me, etc. But you get it all the time, both from foreigners and Japanese people as well. And again, like, the way that stuff is viewed here is totally different. Things that you would never dream of saying to your employee or your, teacher, coworker, whatever, you can get away with here in Japan. So yeah, I never understand it. It's because, like, okay, so I'm too sexy because I have boobs. What am I supposed to do about that? If you wear modest clothing, it's still too sexy because they're basically there. You can do things like wear a sports bra or whatever to flatten your chest, but there's only so much you can do. And generally, even then, if you have legitimately large breasts, a sports bra is not going to make your breasts look so small to the point where no one's going to notice that they're big. They'll still notice them. They just won't look as big, as voluptuous, as sexy, so to speak. But to me, it's unfair. You can't have the way that your body looks in most situations. Of course, those of you that have had plastic surgery, like I get accused of all the time, which I'm not. I have nothing against it though. Yeah, like, in that case, of course, you can. But for most of us, large breasts, in my opinion at least, it's natural. I can't do anything about how my body looks. To be honest, it kind of makes you feel self-conscious. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, like, you must feel really happy, excited about your body. Sure, maybe online, especially like when dealing with foreigners because they're used to seeing this type of stuff. When it comes to Japanese people, like, I feel weird even walking outside not wearing a jacket because I know, like, I can see that people's eyes are going straight to my bust, like, oh my god, her boobs are so freaking big. And so it's really like mixed feelings. So one part of you is like, oh, like, I'm sexy, I'm hot, yay. And then the other part of you is just like, I feel kind of disgusted. And this kind of like plays off of my own personal issues too. If you watch any of my old videos, I have been sexually abused my entire life. I've been physically, verbally, whatever, abused. Had it all done, every important place, church, school, home. And it just makes me feel even worse about myself. The last thing I want is to, walk outside or go to work and feel like I'm being sexually harassed there too. Even if it's meant to be a compliment, it's not. So again, like, there's only so much you can do as far as clothing and stuff goes. But yeah, a lot of people will see you as being too sexy, too hot, whatever, to be a teacher. And then, of course, I know some troll in the comments are going to be, oh, like, you're ugly, you're whatever. That's cool. You might think that I'm busted, but the average person actually finds that I'm attractive even without seeing anything below the neck. Honestly, I have low self-esteem, despite what you might see me post, say, comment, think, whatever. But I can fake it. I'm working on it. But yeah, my self-esteem is like rock bottom low. Having a YouTube channel has definitely helped me. But again, like, I don't view myself as being this beautiful goddess, whatever type thing. I get treated that way here a lot. But again, at the same time, having all of that attention, especially sexually, kind of makes you a little bit uncomfortable. People saying what they want to do to you and, stuff like that. And having your job or boss tell you that you're sexy or, oh, all of the guys must like you, or, oh, you're exotic, your body's this, a Japanese man can't handle you, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just like, those are not compliments. They're kind of weird, creepy things to say, or compliments, if I said that wrong. So, I don't know where I'm getting at with this. All I have to say is, yes, there is such thing as being too sexy to be a teacher here in Japan. If you have large breasts, you might be asked to cover them up, even if you're already covered up. People might assume that you're not dressing modestly because they are big. People might assume that they are fake. There's all kind of like really weird things, especially if you have large breasts and your body is not super big. For example, I am fat, but I'm not really, really big. Thus, my breasts seem fake to some people. They grab your attention, and yeah, again, it just kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. For other people say, oh, that should be a compliment, you're sexy or whatever. So I don't know. I try to look at it from that perspective, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Sometimes I honestly even feel like when it comes to like applying for jobs, it's almost like for example, your resume photo doesn't show anything below the neck, but when you actually get there, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the attention is like drawn to your chest, and I don't think it's ever hurt me or stopped me from getting a job, but I will say that I feel like, I don't know, it instantly has made like bosses and coworkers become flirtatious, feel, blushy, whatever. Which again, like, depending on the person you are, it can be like, oh, everybody likes me, I'm hot, whatever. But honestly, it's just a weird thing, weird feeling, whatever, because I'm not used to this type of attention or reactions in the US. So again, this isn't really going anywhere. I don't know. I feel like it's weird. People think it's a compliment to tell you, oh, you know, your body looks like this. Oh, I couldn't have you as a teacher. I want to do this to you. And it's like, that's not a compliment. It sounds like sexual harassment. That's creepy to say to me. And at the same time, like, jobs are unrealistic. I cannot slice off my breasts to teach English. I can dress modestly, but I have boobs. They're there. Get over it. That's life. So, that's that. Anyway, I'm sorry for going on for so long. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like. Leave a comment down below. Have you experienced this before, like as a girl that's curvy? Have you had jobs ask you to dress, you know, more modestly, not to dress so sexily or whatever, even although you were dressing appropriately? Give me your 2 cents. Do you have friends that have been through this before? Other than that, I really appreciate it if you would please like, follow and subscribe to my social media pages. I have a Facebook and Twitter account, a Snapchat, and an Instagram as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll watch another video. Bye!